All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good. Doing good. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all had a great day yesterday. Hope you're having a great morning so far. So let's get into it. A lot of exciting stuff happening yesterday with all the earnings and everything going on, and some stocks moving all over the place, and the speech as well. We'll get into that. We'll talk a little bit about the SPY and how it reacted. As we expected, right? Every time we have those kind of events, things go haywire. So we'll get into that as well. But first, before we get into that, let's look at our watch list from yesterday. We had a very, very decent watch list here. Some really good movers. Let's start over with TWOU. So TWOU was just unreal. This stock was down. Just want to show you. Let's keep the daily chart over here. I'm just going to remove all these levels. There's way too many levels here. And then I'm going to get the 5-minute over here. This is a new practice we're going to be doing now, so we don't flip back and forth between screens. Give you a chance to appreciate what we're showing you. So here is the 5-minute again. It was just insane, the amount of volume we'd had here, how much this was just continuing to sell off even after this huge drop. So yesterday this thing was down about, I want to say 40 to 50%. Don't remember the exact number, but it was quite a bit. And then at the open, guys, it just continued to sell off. I mean, just no sign of it reversing. Every time you thought it found the bottom, it just continued to drop lower and lower and lower, hitting all the way down to almost $12, 12.02 to be exact. It's the low today, but it went even lower. I think it even went down to 11. So you can see here 1137. So if anyone was trying to catch a reversal on this one, they were definitely having a hard time. Again, just when you thought it was about to reverse here, it just continues to drop lower. Our issues, it was very hard for anyone with CMEC to find shares to short. It did go on short selling restriction right away as well, and you can see it just continues to drop nicely. A lot of people took this stock for a short, so that you made out very well. So it was able to get a great entry here for open range breakdown. And as you can see, it just continues to drop nicely here. So that was a good one yesterday. Traded very, very well. AMD was another one that's, again, huge sell-off right at the open. Just sells off nicely, as you can see here. Gives you a pullback. So it started selling off before the market opened, right? So this is good here. Then it gives you a pullback here. If you're looking for a 2-minute, 1-minute open range breakdown, 3 minutes, you could have caught this nicely, but it's just left, right? Sells down nicely here. A beautiful entry. Then you get almost a nice pullback. This is a very deep pullback. So you got the opening range up here. You get this beautiful pullback right to almost the middle of this candle, which is nice. Rejects the moving average and sells down nicely. Again, just for a beautiful trade. I got in a little too late. I got in around here because after this pullback, I figured probably was going to squeeze higher. Was only able to get 1 R out of this, but again, turned out to be a beautiful trade if you got in up here or around this area here. Weak for the entire day, as you can see here, just continues to sell off. And then obviously a lot of stocks when the SPY on the speeches came on, a lot of stocks started dropping, which is this drop we see around this area here. So we'll get into that. Then we had SPY SPAT. The action on this one was not as clean. It was very active in the morning, but very choppy. And then you can see it kind of just gets nasty in this area. Volume drops drastically after the open. It does go into a nice little run here, right? It does go into a nice little run, but I was watching this, just didn't look too clean, the actual price action. This jump here, I remember specifically, this thing was just, it just popped up and right back down and right back up. So again, just not a lot of volume, not a lot of clean trading on Spotify. And it's funny because Norm, you mentioned this yesterday, right? How this one could be very spready, could be very hard to trade. Yep. And that's what it was. This looks very clean now, guys, but if you was watching this closely, this was not a stock that was easy to trade and manage your risk on. And think about it, you're going from. I mean,
you gotta.
Go ahead.
Those are dollar. Those are like dollar and a half candles each and every one. Back and forth and back and forth.
I was just gonna say that, like here at this candle, this was 148. The top of this candle is 150. Right, so you're going over a $2 range here, and if you saw this pop, I remember this one specifically because it looked great for a possible reversal above the VWAP. It popped up to like 150, right back down to 149, and right back up. I'm like, oh man, this is not something you want to be dealing with. So again, just not clean to trade. AMRN was one that we also had, but it was nasty. It had two very nasty candles. It had this one here. Once it did this, it was just. I was not looking to trade it anymore after it did this. And again, it was looking like it was going to set up nicely for a pop. So right in here, let me get this candle out the way. Right in here, before this happened, it looked like it was going to set up nicely to for a long. Then once this took place, Brian called it out as well. He was trading live. It just became really untradeable and not interesting anymore. And then he did the same thing a couple of minutes later. So again, just MARN, just not one to trade very clean. Apple was great, guys. I mean, look at this pop here. No, I'm not sure if you took this one for a run last night.
No, I missed.
Yep.
I missed it. I hesitated with my entry, and by the time I was mentally prepared to take it, it was shooting upward, and I just missed it. I didn't take any trades at the open yesterday at all.
Yeah, so this one just took off nicely. Look, it was going to sell off. Finds a level here of this. Look at this 216.39. Look how great that level is, right? Comes right down to it at the open, and then it shoots right up. Just trading very nicely here, and then it looks like it's setting up. A lot of people got faked out on this ABCD, right? It looks like it's setting up for ABCD, right, to VWAP. It gives you a little push, but it doesn't really get going. So you would have probably taken 1R or whatever the case may be, and then you would have been stopped out here. But it didn't get going, then became a beautiful short after it just couldn't stay above VWAP. And then comes right back down to test VWAP one more time. We talk about this, right? It goes above VWAP, cannot sustain above that price, comes down, comes back and retests VWAP, and then sells off again, catches this moving average, and just kind of sells down all the way back to this level that we had. So Apple gave you a few opportunities yesterday right at the open, but again, you have to be really quick, and then another one here on the way down. ENPH, this was one that made a lot of us very happy yesterday. So ENPH, I'm going to show you the 1 minute because you had to trade it off the 1 minute. If you traded off the 5, it was too late. As you can see here, the 5 minute it just takes off nicely and never looks back after that. A lot of hesitation on here, but it does hold the VWAP and it goes high for another pop over to 29. So I'll show you what the 1 minute looks like. This is how I traded it. I usually never get in on a stock before the 3 minute mark, but this setup here was just so nice, right? You had the pop, comes right back down and holds right on here. The next candle is more of an indecision candle. Don't know what's going on yet. Then here, once it started holding above the VWAP, here was what the entry was. Beautiful entry here. Now, this is the 2 minute. I usually don't like to get in for the 2 minute, but I'm like, man, the risk to reward here is as great. This is time to get in. Stop loss here. Give it a 30 cents. Stop loss on this one. Next minute, it just takes off. Glad I didn't wait because if not, I would have missed the move here. So nice pop here. Hits your 1R, hits your 2R easily, and then at this point, just set your stop loss to break even, let it right out, right? Maybe take off a little more if you like, and you survive all this pullback here because now you're taking some profits out. You're in the driver's seat. Set your stop loss to break even for the rest of it and see where it goes. And if you're patient enough, you would have taken another partial out here and then another one at 29 because it really never comes down below the VWAP before it hits 29. So again, just a beautiful trade, but you really had to trade it off the 1 minute. If you waited for the 5, again, the entry was so extended that it might have not been worth a good risk to reward. So that was yesterday, and it's funny. Let's look at GE. I got an email from JT from our chat room about GE because I was saying how it doesn't move, and he's like, hey, GE moved pretty much today, so he was kind of giving me crap for it, but I love it. So here it is, guys. GE, again, when it is in play, it's not typical, but when it is in play, it does give you some good moves, right? So at the open, opened up. This thing had 11 million shares traded already so far. But look at this. It took almost half of the mid-morning to get to 70 cents. But if you had a great entry, you can load up on this one because you could really manage your risk. But you can see how nice this thing dropped yesterday. Again, just giving you a good opportunity on GE right off the open. Then it goes for a nice bounce. It goes for a real nice bounce, actually. You can see here it starts grabbing these moving average and goes back up and gives you another 70 cents the other way. So again, guys, there's so many different ways to trade, right? Man, this could be your style, right? GE doesn't move much, but if you like to load up, you could take 3,000 shares on this, right? Depending on your risk management and what your R's are, and hold it for the 70 cents move. I prefer to take something like ENPH where I can take less shares and get 70 cents, pretty fast, right? Same thing like Norm. Norm likes the larger stocks. He can take a little less shares, but still get $1 or $2 out of some of these moves in a matter of minutes, right? So in seconds sometimes. So again, it's all about preference. There's no wrong or right way to trade the markets. The only thing you do have to do that no matter what you trade, whether you swing trade or you do options, low floats, you have to manage your risk. That's all we enforce to everyone. You have to manage your risk. It doesn't matter what you do. You got to trade small, manage your risk, and don't get overconfident in trading, and you'll be all right. All right, let's get into what we have going on for today on the SPY. Let's look over on some of the things that happened. Norm, what do we have going on?
Oh man, SPY is green just by a tiny amount. It's actually been selling a little bit lower as we've been going through the morning from what it was up. So as most people know, I'm sure the Fed yesterday afternoon announced a 25 basis point cut to the Fed funds rate. They also talked about halting or slowing their quantitative tightening policy. So at first, at 2 o'clock Eastern, the SPY actually was fairly strong. Spiked a little bit, was okay with the news, really. I mean, a lot of it was baked in. And then Powell's press conference started at 2:30, and this is the first time, I think, in history, but that I know of for sure, that the Fed chair does a press conference after every single Fed minutes release from their, or Fed rate decision from their meeting. And boy, does he have a way with the markets, just to lay an egg. And you can see, I mean, Apple went from like 118 to 1 up 12, 111. SPY tanked. I mean, just a massive drop on SPY as he was talking. He when he, I think this is the third time it's happened. His commentary is really what caused the markets to start to tank in fourth quarter, starting in October. You can almost pin it exactly to his statement in October 4th, I believe it was. When he tightened and then spoke in December, we got the same thing until we got a rebound a little bit later on Christmas Eve. And then yesterday. So 3 times that I'm aware of that he talks and it just tanks SPY. So tanks the market. So anyway, it was kind of somewhat to be expected. I was actually in a tiny trade at that point, got a little bit out of it on Apple. It popped up a good 50 or 60 cents. Got out of it about break even. And then it was before all hell broke loose in the markets yesterday afternoon. So they've come back a little bit this morning. I was texting with some people yesterday, some BBT people. They were saying, what's your bet? And obviously I have no idea. I have no crystal ball. Wouldn't surprise me to see if we come test resistance, or previous resistance, which would hopefully now be support at 291 over the next couple of days before we get back up. It's a fairly substantial drop, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get bought back up today. Anyway, so that's kind of what's been going on this morning as far as economic data. Weekly jobless came out right when we were going on the air. It was almost exactly in line with expectations at up 215,000, which was 1,000 more than the 214 estimate. And then today we've got manufacturing PMI, manufacturing index, construction spending, and motor vehicle sales from the various automakers will be kind of, sprinkled in throughout the next day or so. Today mostly. So that is what we got.
All right, excellent. Let's again, just talking about this drop. I mean, it was fun to watch. I was not in any move, but I was just stuck at the charts and seeing how it affects everything. Hearing him talk and how every little thing, every question is like, if the answer goes one way, then it's just like, really, guys? The answer was neutral. Well, who cares? But it's just fun to watch.
Well,
and
yeah.
So
they made this quarter point hike or drop. Excuse me. They cut the rate by quarter of a percent yesterday, and the market kind of had priced in. There were some people thinking we were going to get a 50 basis point cut, which that was few and far between. But he came out and he gave an indication on one answer at one point in the press conference when he went off script, which is when he has problems, which is what causes the market problems. It's almost every time he goes off script. And he was, kind of indicated that this was going to be the only cut, and the market was looking for 3 more over the next, let's say, 6 months. So that's what caused a bit of this, and we'll see what happens. He had to walk it back a little bit later in his conference. I don't know if somebody signaled to him that he tanked the market or what, but yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy. All right, guys, so here's what we have. Our list got a little better this morning. Did not have a lot going on here, but we only had, obviously, BYND was on here, which is down quite a bit today, down 22 bucks from the close yesterday, down 11%. So we'll see what's going on there. This is having a really tough time, BYND, the last couple of days in the nasty daily, so we'll get into that. But let's start with the top on SHOP. So we have SHOP over here, SHOP. SHOP is up 4.8, 147,000 shares traded. So it's got some decent volume on here. A little higher price stock, trading around 330 bucks today on the daily. This one I don't have experience trading much. Again, I like to trade them between 150 and lower. But this one here, again, just very high price stock, 300 something bucks. And at the moment, pre-market activity not looking all that great in here, starting from 7 a.m. this morning. So decent pre-market. It's so-so. It's not great. It's not bad. Getting pretty flat right now. Volume has died down a bit. So hopefully if we get more activity out of this one, this could be in play. It is up 4.8, almost hitting this resistance for the last couple of days. Not sure if there's any news on this, Norm, or do we have an earnings that came out on this?
Yeah, they released earnings this morning. And as you can see, it was overall pretty positive. The one thing I'll say here is the stock does have a large ATR at over $12. It can also be spready at times. I don't know why. Spot and SHOP, even they have similar tickers, and to me, they act almost the same way. So I won't be trading this. It's a little higher price than I like to trade, and it just doesn't flow right when I've looked at it before, for me at least.
Yeah, correct. Again, it's all about finding your niche and what you like to trade. This is one that I don't like trading either, but we'll keep it on here. We'll find some levels for it for those that will like to have this on their list. Next, we have GM. So GM is here up 2.6 this morning. Let's remove some of these levels we have here. As you can see, it's been on a nice comeback since June, right? A lot of stocks since June been on a really nice comeback. Just following these moving averages nicely. Today is gapping up 2.6 with some decent volume. GM trades okay when it is in play. You have several days. We have some beautiful pops here. But overall, it does not move a whole lot on the few times I looked at it. But today it looks like we have a nice pop here. Pre-market activity at the moment is looking decent for GM. This is a nicey stock. So usually the pre-market activity is not going to look like an AMD when it has a lot of volume and in play. It's not going to look like that. So this is actually pretty decent for the type of stock this is. We're having earnings today on GM, Norm?
Yeah, they announced this morning, and they pretty much blew out their estimates. So that's what's popping GM this morning.
Excellent. So we'll keep an eye on GM and see what's going on there. Next, we have we go right away. There's only 2 green stocks in our list. Right away, we're heading down towards the stocks not doing too well. So here we have Yeti at a negative 4.8, 126,000 shares traded so far. We have looked at this one in the past. It can trade very well when it gets the volume. You can see it has several days where it's been nice. Let's look at the pre-market activity, though. It's not looking great. So 126,000, so not much volume on here, but the pre-market activity is just looking horrible at this moment. It's a little early. Let's wait to see what happens here. They're dropping down. I'm assuming earnings as well on this one, Norm, unless otherwise.
Yeah. They reported earnings this morning, and it was actually fairly positive, and they raised their outlook for the year. Without digging into it too much, I'm guessing their guidance wasn't raised quite as much as people wanted. It's a fairly highly valued stock as far as fundamental information. So the growth has to be phenomenal to justify the kind of price that people are paying for it. And if there's any inkling that they're not just going to accelerate at a crazy degree, then you'll see these kinds of things. A lot of times people wonder, well, they said they beat earnings, they beat on all 3 metrics: earnings, revenue, guidance. But if a lot of people are in it expecting it to be growing like crazy and it slows down, not growing as fast, it'll cause that to drop like that. So we'll see.
Gotcha. So right now down 4.8. Again, pre-market activity not looking great. We have a lot on here, so if something looks better, this might not make the final cut. Let's go over to W. W on here is one that trades very, very whippy. You gotta be careful with it. When it is in play, it can move a lot. The ATR on this one is at 590, so it can move. 590 is quite a bit on here. At the moment, we're down 5.5, 447,000 shares traded. Again, just not a great pre-market activity. I'm going to remove these levels so we can get a clear picture of what's going on right now. But the pre-market activity not looking all that great on W at the moment. Daily chart, as you can see here, we've been on a little downtrend over the last couple of 2 months at least, starting back in June, July. Just started dropping here all the way to this level. So we're at a point where we lost a good area of resistance. I'm sorry, of support, right? So right over here, we had a nice area of support all the way through since it gapped up back in what's this? March, February looks like. So we had a nice little pop there. We kind of held this, bounced off of it, and the last couple of days we lost it. Now we just continue to drop, and now our price is right at the top of where we used to be before this gap happened here, right before this gap happened. So interesting on the daily. Pre-market action is not looking great, but we'll keep it on here. This is a nice little drop here that we can hopefully take advantage of this morning. So let's go over to, what do we have next? QCOM. QCOM is down 6.2 today. What's up with UCOM this morning?
Yeah, they had earnings last night, and they're talking about some weak smartphone demand, which has kind of been an ongoing conversation. So their outlook was fairly weak, and their revenues were weak.
Gotcha. So QCOM here again gapping down quite a bit. Some good volume, 226,000 shares traded. Pre-market activity is actually looking really good because QCOM could be a stock that again it can trade very, very choppy. You got to be very careful with this one. It can trade kind of like INTC. INTC sometimes it can do certain things that's just like it just doesn't trade as clean. But today is down nicely. I like the daily. We're hitting some of these areas of support and resistance that we had previously around the month of June. You can see right on here, price action right on it. Bottom of the pre-market also hitting some of these levels in this area here. So we'll get into that. But pre-market activity looks great, guys. This is a very good pre-market activity, especially early on. You can see how you have a nice swing here. We got some good volume being spread out. Here's the difference of a stock that, again, you can have okay volume, right, 235, and have a great pre-market action. In some cases, you can have 547,000 shares traded like GM and not have a great pre-market action, right? So kind of shows you how important this pre-market activity can be sometimes. Next, we have our Beyond the Meat here. This stock has
Beyond the Meat.
Yes, been taking a huge hit here. As you can see, once it popped up here on 240 or so, which has been on a downhill trend after they reported earnings. I think they had an offering as well on here as well. So you can see price action sitting right at an area that where we had some previous resistance. So if you look at this line right on there, you can see how nice this trend was building up, and you knew this was getting ready. Well, not new, but it had the look that it was getting ready to pop, and you can see here winds down right to this point, and then boom, volume comes in and it takes off, right? Hits the all-time high and heads all the way down to 240. But recently has been having a tough time. Today it is down quite a bit, 12.5, and it looks like it wants to even head lower. We got some levels down here we can look at. This stock is a little difficult to find share for shorts. I personally don't like to trade this one. The ATR is just too high for me, and not also the ATR, because you can always take less shares and protect yourself. Even though the ATR is $15, you can take less shares. But it's more important is the price action. The way the price moves in this stock is not clean, right? So take a look at it. Watch the way it trades. It can be very whippy, and I prefer stocks that are not at as wild in their price action like that. Norm, anything new besides the secondary offering, the earnings on BYD?
Well, like you mentioned, they announced earnings a few days ago. Announced they were going to have a 3.25 million share secondary offering, which they announced pricing for last night at $160 a share. And there's a few things in there. So there's a lockup period for insiders. It's 180 days that once a stock goes public and whether it's the CEO or a venture capitalist firm that invested in them, things of that nature, they have to hold for 180 days before they can sell. And this is almost designed so that, well, it's not almost, it's in a good way designed so that those people can get out of those shares before their lockup period. A similar thing kind of happened with GoPro a few years ago, and you can kind of see what happened with GoPro. So, there's a few things back there. First of all, The pricing of the secondary offering was, I think, roughly 30% lower than when they announced the actual offering. So that means that the company, I mean, nobody in their right mind, if they thought their company was worth that much, would devalue their own shares by 30%. That's number one. Number two, a lot of the insiders have announced they're going to be getting rid of shares in this offering. So that's another. And then, the obvious dilution of shares when there's an increased number of them.
Gotcha. See, guys, this is why we have Norm here, right? I mean, would we know that without this community? Probably not. I probably would have just been trading without knowing the back end part. So thanks, Norm, for that information. It's great to have moderators that know this stuff, right? Because again, you're very good at knowing the history and some of the market stuff and all that. So that's
thanks. And I want to stress when I talk about this, a lot of times it's fun to talk about and stuff. I enjoy that aspect of it, but these fundamentals really don't come into play in the kind of stuff it's good to know the background story to some degree, but 99% of what I'm working off of when I'm trading is fundamental information.
Yes.
Technical information, not fundamentals like I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point. You got to be able to separate the two. You got to enjoy the fundamentals like we're talking about it now, but not trade off of that, right? We are technical traders and we focus just on the technicals. Yep. So keep that in mind. Don't go trying to look at the news and going crazy. It's good to know what's going on. For example, we knew that Powell was going to talk yesterday, right? We need to know that because that can affect even our technical trading. Sometimes the news, you saw how the markets reacted. You want to know what's going on, but you don't want to trade just based on that. What they say that technical traders do not need the news or fundamentals, but fundamental traders still need the technicals, right? So that's kind of like the saying that you have to go by. You can't just trade fundamentals and the technicals show you something completely different.
And not look at price action and everything else.
Exactly.
You got to go with what the price action is telling you. Somebody can come out and say that you can listen to an earnings report or a conference call and it be the most wonderful thing you've ever heard, and if the price action is sinking, it doesn't mean a thing. So
exactly. All right, what do we have here? HGV. So HGV, it is down quite a bit this morning, 16% almost. Huge drop here. This stock's been on a tear. I mean, there's no red day since June all the way up to July, so almost a whole month just going green. Kind of stalled out, and today we have a beautiful drop here. But with this beautiful drop, we're not getting any type of pre-market action, even though we have 447,000 shares traded. I see some huge drops here that are costing some of that volume. What's the news on this Hilton Grand Vacations?
Yeah, they reported earnings this morning, and I haven't really dug into it. This is a pretty lightly traded stock, so I really won't likely have it on my list, but negative earnings is the catalyst, which has dropped at 16%.
All right, excellent. So we'll see. Right now, there's nothing great about this one, so we'll probably not watch this one today unless something great happens between now and 9:15, which I highly doubt. WLL. What is WLL? So this one is down 24.8. I'm liking the pre-market activity already. I like the time and sales is moving nicely pre-market. You can see this is a nice pre-market activity, guys. Look at this flow here. We got a nice little flow here with some decent volume, 551,000 shares traded. I love the daily chart. You can see here it kind of held this support for some time. Some nice ranges here, and then boom, we have a nice drop this morning. Norm, what do we have on WLL?
They reported earnings last night. They were abysmal, and on top of that, they announced they're laying off 33% of their workforce because of poor business conditions. So,
wow. All right, so that's going to be fun to watch today. Again, this one is, what's the float on this? It is a lower, on the lower side at $13. Their float
91 million.
Yeah, so that's a tradable. That's good. I like the way that's looking so far this morning. Good pre-market activity, good flow. It is a nicey stock, but it's trading very, very nice in the pre-market this morning. Last one on our gappers list is PS. So PS, what do we have here? PS is down 30%. 1 million shares traded so far. Although it has 1 million shares traded, guys, look at the difference between this pre-market activity and this one on WLL, right? This is a lot better. It has a nice flow to it. PS not as clean. So what's going on with this one, Norm? This is down quite a bit today, 30%.
Yeah, they reported earnings last night, and their revenues were okay, but their earnings per share was off, and they also they lowered their guidance, their forward guidance.
All right, excellent. So let's see what we can get out of this one. It is shortable as well. We do have some levels going back over to around this area, December, January. So we'll get into that in a second. All right, guys. So this is what we have. Let's go to NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers, AVAO, penny stock, not really tradable. Same thing with SLS. BYND, we have IZEA penny. PS, we have TRNX is also a penny stock. TVIX, we already know about these, volatility index. Our buddy AMD, what is it up to? Had a big drop yesterday, which a lot of stocks did. This one at the moment came right down to support. You know what? This could be worth taking a look at. I'm going to put this on here, AMD. Then we have QCOM down here as well. Let's go over to NASDAQ gainers. SPWR. SPWR 235,000 shares traded, up 17%. What is the flow on this one? SPWR. All right, so 140 million shares float. Let's look at the pre-market, how we got going on here. So pre-market activity looks all right. This could be worth taking a look at. I'm going to put it on here. Could be worth taking it for a spin, see what we can find the support and resistance. Right now, it looks like it's trading pretty nice here with some decent volume. FIVN, not much going on there, guys. It is gapping up 16%, but the volume is not there just yet. In the pre-market, look at this one, just not looking clean. CROX is also has got a decent pop. Not the greatest pre-market action, not the greatest volume, so we'll skip that one. BAND, nothing happening there. You got a pop here, but no volume. FLGT, same situation, guys. No volume in this area. XYSXI, no volume. SPAR, also no volume. TiVo, no volume. SFET, a little bit of volume, 52,000 shares. But look at this pre-market action, nothing great. All of it sitting, half of it sitting on this one candle here, 22,000 shares. And that's what we have for NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers, guys. If there's something on here that that you have on your, something that you don't have on your list, that we don't have on our list, let us know that you have, that we might look at. FIT, let's take a look at that one. FIT. And then we'll go over Norm's top 4 or anything else that Norm has that we got going on here. TWLO. FIT at the moment is down quite a bit. 18.1. Has a lot of volume. But man, even though it has 904,000 shares traded, it's not creating a lot of pre-market activity here. It's just pretty much flat. But you know what? This could be interesting. But here, we get back to this same situation, right? This is FIT. So FIT is a large flow stock, right? 217, so mid flow, whatever the case may be, and it's lower price. So usually these stocks tend to trade a little funky, right? We talk about this, so we can look at it, but I probably would not watch it. TWOU and then TWOO, we'll look at those two. TWOU had a very big red day. Yes, I mean, this thing almost looked like it was going to open up at 0 today, the way this thing was dropping. So I do expect a continuation out of this morning. Now, I do not have shares for sure, so me personally, I'm not going to watch it. It could just be flat for the rest of the day today. Who knows? But I'll look for this one on my scanners. I'm not going to have it on my list. TWLO, this one here is not much going on right now, guys. It has a little bit of volume, 70,000 shares traded, but not really anything too crazy that I like at the moment. Daily chart is a little choppy, which is normal for TWLO. But look at this pre-market activity, just not great right now. Does not mean that it cannot get better. It is an IC stock, and some stocks can start like that and then get better as it goes. All right, what else we have? This is CXO. ZXO. No volume right now, gapping down nicely, guys, but not a lot of activity at the moment. It's just not looking great in the pre-market action. We'll do one more K, and then we'll go over to Norm's, what he's watching, and then we'll do announcements. So K, same thing, guys, is popping up a bit here. It's about to crack 100K, so it's gonna show up here. We'll come back to it, but right now the pre-market activity is not looking all that great. Maybe it can start getting better here once it gets some more volume, but not looking all that great on K at the moment. So I'll keep it on here just to see if it gets better by the time we do our support and resistance. But right now, it's just not looking all that great on the pre-market activity. Norm, what do you like this morning? How's your top 4 looking?
Actually, they're looking pretty decent. Nobody's gapped up a ton, but obviously Apple had a massive day yesterday and then sold off after the Fed press conference. I'll have my eye on that to see what it does today. Nvidia sold off pretty hard yesterday, dropped below 170. It looks like it's trying to find support at the 20 on the daily. I want to see if people are looking to maybe load up a little bit on this after yesterday's fire sale for a bigger run up. Continuation since the move it's made since a couple of months at this point. Dropped down to 140-ish just a couple of months ago in May. So I want to see what happens with that. Facebook doesn't really look all that interesting this morning to me, but it had a huge ramp midday yesterday. We were watching while I was on the mic in the room. Gave it all back after the Fed speech or Fed conference, but I didn't quite even see what the news that caused the spike on it. I still haven't seen anything specific. I don't know if just one big institution or somebody wanted to grab some shares or what happened there, but I'll have my eye on that one as well. So.
All right, excellent, guys. So let's go over announcements, Norm. What do we have for today or this week?
Yeah, we're just a little bit behind, so I'm going to run through these fast. Tomorrow night, Phoenix meetup. There are links for it on our Facebook page, Bear Bull Traders Facebook page, and the forum to RSVP for it. I know we had previously announced that there would be a YouTube live Ask Me Anything tonight. That has been postponed due to some circumstances out of control, but keep an eye out for that to be rescheduled at some point. Benzinga FinTech Awards, we were nominated for Best Financial Literacy Tool by somebody, so there's a link that Abel has posted. We would much appreciate your vote. You can vote once per day per device. So thank you very much. And, obviously, if you don't like us, don't vote for us, but if you honestly enjoy being a part of Bear Bull Traders or watching us on YouTube or Recast or anything like that, we'd love to have your vote and appreciate that. Just two other quick things. As you guys have been doing, please keep the main chat for trading, either specific setups or trades that you're in, stuff like that. Questions about stuff not directly to a current trade or setup or something along those lines, please post an off topic. We will answer those. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you have not been in the room to watch us trade live throughout the day, where we do various moderators. Obviously, Andrew comes on at the open, then Brian, myself, Peter, Kurt, Eamon, trade reviews with William, all kinds of stuff like that goes on all day in the classroom, the chat room. Yesterday, there was an awesome workshop Wednesday that we ran at noon Eastern in the classroom, same time the chat room was going on. Please, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And you can also use the promo code PREMARKET24. That's no spaces, no punctuation or hyphens. PREMARKET numbers 24 to get a 1-week trial. It does not renew and it's at a discounted rate. So that is what I got.
Excellent. All right, guys, let's slice and dice this. We have way too many on here, obviously. Let's pick the best and see what we can get out of here. So a shop I'm going to remove, guys, just because, again, it is a higher price stock. We have plenty to watch today. This one has volume, is okay. But from my experience, I just don't like the way it trades overall. And I prefer trading something with a lower price range. So I'm just going to remove this one here. GM is one that doesn't move much, might not make the final cut, but let's get some levels for it. High of the pre-market sitting at 41.88. Towards the bottom, you have this area here of resistance I couldn't crack out of, so that is around 40.95 to be exact. And then below that, plenty of levels, highs and lows, and moving average, so don't need to add any more on there. Towards the top on GM, let's see what we got here level wise, going back towards May, June of last year. Clean level right over here on this pop, that 42.75 looks great. You can see how it's resistance here, and then support in this area, right? So that's good. This one also, another one at 44. That's enough for gem. I don't think you're gonna get that type of move. It will be very rare if it can pop like that. So pre-market activity looking okay, not great. It does have some great volume, but look how this great volume does not create really a good pre-market activity. but that's typical for GM. So we'll keep it on there for now. Might not make the final cut. On Jetty, on the daily, again, just not the greatest daily chart, not the greatest pre-market action. I'm going to put some levels in case we hits our scanners, but I'm going to remove this one as well. 31.82, low of the pre-market. Also, look at the low of the pre-market high. It's been great support in all these days over here, right? So nice area of support. Towards the top, I am going to mark down this day here, 32.93. You can see that area of resistance there, then support as well, and then resistance before we finally can break out of that. So 32.93. Then towards the top, you have plenty of levels where the price action is right now. Highs and lows, previous day close, moving average. Don't need to add any more in here. It's already very congested. And I'm just going to add the high of the pre-market, 36.98, 37 to be exact, and then this one up here, 38. So that's enough for Yeti right now. It is coming back a bit here. You know, if it can get more volume, it'll be great. We'll keep it on here. We'll come back to it. W, guys, is another one that I don't like the way it trades. Wayfair can trade very choppy sometimes. Let's look at the pre-market action at the moment. It's looking all right, not great. Although it has 545,000 shares traded, not the best pre-market action. So the drop so far on the low of the pre-market is sitting at 1632. Towards the top, what do we have? Any levels in between here? Yeah, great levels right in this area around February where we popped up to 124, then headed back down to that 116. Then going back towards the top. All right, so two levels towards the bottom that are pretty nice. Right above the price action, you have previous day close, moving averages, highs and lows. So I'm not going to add any more right in here. Low of yesterday is a very nice one, also right below the pre-market, the action right now with the price. Then towards the top, we can get it all, through all this mess here, which looks like it might not be easy to do. That previous day close is a very important level. I have the pre-market 142.66, and then also right in between here we have a nice area 139.06. You have some area of support here, and then resistance on these days. So 139.06 is a nice one, and then if we can break out of that, this was going to be another possible area, 147.48, and then also 154. So you have a clear resistance here, clear resistance on these several days right on here at 147.48. Let's look at QCOM. QCOM has a very nice pre-market action. I like the way this is trading today. It's just very nice here, some good volume. Low of the pre-market sitting at 67.27. High of the pre-market sitting at 69.45. So we have those two ranges there. Look how those two ranges act as support and resistance around this area here. You have support here, and then resistance as well. So that's good. Towards the bottom, if we can break down, it will be 65.82. You have another one all the way down here, 64.86. That's a stretch. Towards the top, I'm going to pick this level here. You can clearly see how we have an area of resistance on the way up. So it stops here, hesitates, loses momentum, then heads right back down with some nasty daily candles here, back to that 69.46. If we can break out of all this, 69.46, 71.32, then you have plenty of levels moving up here. Previous day close, highs and lows from the last two trading days. And you also want to look out for this moving average coming down slightly below 72.50. So be on the lookout for that. Next, BYND, guys. I am just not going to keep this one on my list, but clearly low of the pre-market right now, 167.13. Again, this one's got a lot of technical damage done to it with the news as well. Look at this nasty daily candles, and the ranges here are almost, what, 20, 30 bucks. So be very careful if you are going to trade this. This for me is just, like Andrew says, some stocks are just out of your league, right? This is one that's out of my league. Next level, if we can lose this low of the pre-market, 148.12. And then we have a possible here at a 138.57. So that's what's going on with BYND today. Beyond the meat, really losing it. But I'm going to remove it on my end. Just not one that I prefer to watch. HGV, I'm not doing much since we left it. Again, still doing the still not doing a great pre-market activity. So I'm going to remove it. But you know what? Before we do that, let's get some levels in here. 26.20. And then all the way down here at 24.85, and then up here you have a nice support resistance area around 28.67. So we'll mark those down just in case it hits our scanners. But again, I don't think a lot is going to be happening out of this one today, or at least not right at the open. So we'll remove it. WLL, I love the way this is trading. Look at this beautiful pre-market flow here. This is nice. So that's the flow you want to see with some good volume, down 25%, beautiful daily chart here, right? What's a beautiful daily chart? You actually see bodies of candles, right? If you want to see a bad daily chart, look at MT. That's a horrible daily chart. Obviously, I picked the foreign stock that I gave you there, but that's a real example of a really bad daily chart if you look at That would be MT for those that don't know that stock. Check that one out. High of the pre-market 1474, low of the pre-market 1310. Look at how nice. When you have a clean daily chart, look at how these levels are. How beautiful that is, right? Low of the last two trading days, hitting some areas as well, right in here, right? So that's beautiful, beautiful. Towards the bottom, if we can lose this 1311, which is the low of the pre-market at the moment, let's go back. It looks like we have to go really back. Okay. All right. Okay, are we sitting at all-time low? Why I do this, if you guys can check that out, let me know. We might be. We just might. Yes, thank you guys. All right, so we're sitting at all-time low. Even more interesting. So no levels on the way down here. We want to watch out for 14, guys. So I'm going to mark 14. We want to watch out for that whole dollar number there. That can be in a place where you're going to have some loss of momentum, at least resistance or support, these whole dollar numbers. And then towards the bottom, we're going to look out for 1250 and stuff like that. So all-time low on WLL, that makes it more interesting. Definitely like this one today with a good pre-market action. We do have shares for sure. It's a beautiful stock this morning. PS not looking all that great. 1.3 million shares traded, but look at this pre-market action, right? It's just not showing anything too exciting. I love the drop. The drop is down 31%. Low of the pre-market 2050. High of the pre-market 2150. So you got a range there. And then if we go back, if we can lose this 2050, the next level, clean level we have is 19. Looks like every dollar here is a level, and then below here 1720, 1791. Towards the top, an area right on here, you have this 2290. What do I like 2290? You have a support in this area here, resistance. You got support and resistance right around here, and then you have a lot of resistance over here, right? Before we come back up, test it one more time, and then break out of it, and then we come back and test it for support before we continue back up. So that's very nice there, that 2290. So plenty of ranges here right now. Pre-market activity not looking too great, guys, so I'm going to remove this one. If it hits our scanners, we can tune into it, but I just don't like the way the pre-market is. Even with this all this volume, it's not creating anything that looks too exciting for me. AMD, I love the drop from yesterday, holding this support. It's got some decent volume. Let's get some levels for it. Even if we don't keep it, it'll be a good one to look out for on the scanners. We have 31.59 towards the top. High of the pre-market sitting roughly around 31, so 31 on the high of the pre-market. And towards the bottom, look at this previous day close, has been an area of good support and resistance over the last couple of months, right? Going back to June, resistance comes back, we get some support out of this, resistance and support, and then it takes off, right? On the drop yesterday, it comes right back down to this level. Not a coincidence, right? Because it obviously has found support and resistance in that area in the past, around 34.45. If we can lose this, we have a level here at 29.83 and another one all the way down here at a 29.16. So some good two levels towards the bottom, good two levels towards the top, plus highs and lows from the last two trading days up here, moving averages. So it'll be interesting to see what we can get out of it. Kind of cooling up between the previous day close and the VWAP right now and the pre-market action. Let's see what we can get out of AMD today. SPWR has a nice pop here. Low of the pre-market 1340, high of the pre-market sitting at 1434. If we look at whoops, did I change? Yeah, I did change stocks by mistake. Let's bring it back. SPWR. Look at the pre-market activity. It actually looks decent. We have a nice pop, a nice flow here, dropping back down, now back up. Let's go back and see what we have. Towards the bottom, we have a 1283 is the last area that I see of resistance that can be possibly support. If we can drop, let's go back, see if we have anything on the top, or we are all-time high. Nope, we have some levels here going back to 2016. So let's just get a few towards the top. Clean level up here at 1542, and another one up here at 1631. So plenty of levels for SPWR. Pre-market activity looks great. So we'll keep an eye on this one. FIT is one of those stocks that, again, has a lot of volume. It's a lower price stock, but it is not a low float. That those stocks tend not to trade very clean. Low of the pre-market 336, high of the pre-market 377. We're down 20% on this stock today. I'm gonna go back and see when's the last time we were in this area, or are we at all-time low on Fitbit? Yes, we are all-time low, so this makes it even a little more exciting, guys. There's nothing down here really, and no levels down here neither, right? So so we can keep an eye out on this. The pre-market activity is starting to get great, so we'll definitely keep an eye on this one. CXO, guys, I'm going to remove it. Just no pre-market activity here. I'm going to take this off the list. It's down 16.5. That's nice, but right now not doing anything great. Let's look out for that one in our in our gappers list. K doesn't have great volume right now. It is up 4.8, but it's just not really a good pre-market activity. Can this get better later on? Yes, it can. It is a nicey stock, so it can get active. But right now, I'm just going to skip it. If it hits our scanners, we can tune into it. But at the moment, we have way too many. We still got to scale this down just a little bit more. So we have some Pasos, Apple, Nvidia, and Facebook, guys. Take a look at that. But I have way too many on my list, so I'm going to remove these. These could be good morning plays for later on. In the mid-morning around 10:30, we look around to some of our favorites and see how they're moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try to get rid of at least 2 here. So we have GM, Yeti. Yeti's not looking all that great, guys. Might need to get rid of Yeti.
I was going to say, check the spread on W as you go through there. It was pretty nasty just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I think Yeti and W might be it. See, Yeti, guys, I don't like. I'm going to remove it. Just the pre-market activity not looking great. Get rid of that one. W, yeah, this is one that doesn't trade very well. Look at the spread at 27 cents now. I'm sure probably when you saw it, Nor was probably higher.
It was about $1 a minute ago. Yeah.
And if you look into it, it's not a lot on here, right? It's a guy probably here sitting with 2 shares, right? So that doesn't really count. You can move all the way up to 175. So I'm gonna get rid of W for now, guys. Again, if we see something, we can see something, say something type of thing. But right now I'm gonna remove that one. QCOM I like, has a good pre-market action. It's down quite a bit, so I'm looking for this one to have a great open. WLL holding 1311, the low of the pre-market. That's great. Looking for to see what that's going to do. And this is all-time low, I remember. Yes, so all-time low, no levels down here, guys. AMD, it's good. I'm gonna keep an eye on that one. SPWR is decent, nice pop. And then FIP is it's about to lose this pre-market low, 336 looks like. So this will be a good one to watch as well. We do have shares for sure. Lower price stock, so it trades a little different. You could manage your risk. It doesn't move crazy on you. It's not going to drop 30 cents. So you could take a little more shares, but again, most importantly, manage your risk properly. All right, guys, so this is our list today. Norm is watching Apple, Nvidia, AMD, MU, QCOM, WLL, Facebook, and GM. Kurt is watching GM, WLL, QCOM, Beyond, The Meat, and Yeti. So that's what we have, guys, so far. Norm, anything I missed before we say bye to our friends on YouTube?
I think that's it, buddy.
All right, excellent, guys. Guys, thank you for joining us. Take care. Have a great trading day this Thursday, first day of the month. So let's start off strong. Let's start off disciplined. Let's learn from last month, but focus on making small increment progress. Let's not try to hit a home run every time. Let's be the Derek Jeter of trading, right? If the game's on the line, you want Derek Jeter up there. He's not going to strike out. He's going to get on base. So that's what we want to do in day trading. Take care, guys.
Thanks for watching, guys. Trade safe.